The political and the physical geography of Ukraine. Ukraine got independent in 1991 and India was one of the first nations to recognize the independence of Ukraine. In 1992, India established diplomatic ties with Ukraine with a population of nearly 40 million people and a region of 6 lakh square kilometers. This region is extensively known for its agriculture, extremely fertile area with nearly 25% of its soil as black soil, a major proportion of steppes being part of it. So we would understand that in the physical section. To begin with, let's have an overview about the political location of Ukraine. So Ukraine, as we can see, has its borders with the countries of former Soviet Union, which are Belarus and Moldova. Belarus is a close ally of Russia, and then towards the south we have Crimea, which is the disputed territory, and then there is a close border with Black Sea. There is another border with Sea of Azov. So these two are one of the very important regions for Ukraine, not only for its economic purpose but also for the sake of tourism. So it's not just the agriculture in this region, the industries here, but also it is one of the major centers for tourism in whole of the Ukraine. Having the coast with the Black Sea and Sea of Azov is important. Then we do have other nations which are part of it. So you would have Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, which are the European countries. We'll see it in a larger map in a while. But the idea is the four countries which have border with Ukraine are the European countries which have border with Ukraine are Poland, Slovakia, Hungary and Romania. The capital of Ukraine is Kiev, and that lies on the Dnieper River, one of the major rivers which divides the Ukraine into two regions, the east and the west. So it runs north to south, and then we have one of the major tributaries of Dnieper, which is Desna River. Then there are two other important rivers. One is the Donets River, the other is the southern Bah. So those are another major rivers which flow through it. Towards the eastern side is the Carpathian mountain range. So here we have the Carpathian, which are the eastern Carpathian, and then we have the Polish lowlands in the north. Near the Dnieper, the east of the Dnieper is the Dnieper lowland area. The west of the Dnieper is the Dnieper upland area, and then this is the Black Sea, Sea of Azov lowland area, which is one of the highly fertile belts of the region. So just having a look onto the political position of Ukraine, if we see in the whole of the Europe, we have a lot of NATO members which are lying close to Ukraine. Who are those NATO members? Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, then we also have Slovakia, Hungary, then we have Turkey as the NATO members. Now what is NATO? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And what's so special about NATO? The members who are part of NATO, they have a treaty. This treaty specifically says that if there is an attack on any of the nations, it is attack towards all the nations. So a small trigger to any of the nation could cause all of the nations to combine their forces. So that is what is NATO, and the NATO forces are present in the territories closer to Ukraine, where we already mentioned those. Coming on to this map explains the oblast boundaries, which is similar to the state. So we call it in India as a state. So within the country you have various states. There within the country there are various republics. These republics are known as oblast. So here are the boundaries for the various oblasts. Some of the common ones which have been in news recently are Luhansk, Donetsk. Then we have the Kivska, Lviv as another important ones, and the region of Crimea, which is the Republika Crim, is another important one. The important rivers, as I said, this is the Dnieper River flowing north to south, dividing the nation nearly into two halves. And then there is another river which is the Donets River. The region closer to the Donets is the region of coal mining. On the region of this Dnieper, there is Nikopol, which is one of the major centers for manganese mining. Similarly, we have seen that Ukraine was one of the producers of numerous arms and ammunitions and defense systems. But after the separation from the former Soviet Union, Ukraine actually started to move its resources or to shift its resources towards peaceful purposes. So from defense to civilian use was the idea, and numerous factories which were producing defense equipment started to produce agricultural equipment. Some of the places, for example, Kharkiv has common examples of these which have been cited. Then there are another important rivers which are the southern Buh river, which runs here, and another one which is Dniester river, running on the boundary towards the western side of the Ukraine border, towards the western side of the Ukraine border. And towards the western side we also have the Carpathian mountain range that actually separates it from the remaining area. And if there is a route to enter, that's only through the Poland, and therefore it is known as the Polish funnel. Now, as you see, the major rivers have been responsible for the topography of this region, and as a result the southern portion is a highly fertile area. So this region which lies towards the south is the region where you have maximum of steppes. So this is the region where steppes are seen, and this whole region of steppes is one of the very fertile belts, usually growing wheat and sunflower oil seeds as one of the major staple development in this region. Then towards the north we do have forest steppes. So whole of Ukraine, we can say nearly 70% of Ukraine is agricultural. However, the primary agriculture is towards the steppes in the southern region. Coming on to the tourism, so here is the map for tourism. We understand that there have been various castles, various archaeological monuments which are seen here across the country, and then with also the coast there is lots of beach activities and tourism activities associated to it. Along with that, there are numerous hinterland areas where crops have been seen and huge agricultural regions have been witnessed in those areas. Coming on to the factory areas, as we said, Ukraine is emerging. Numerous factories in Kharkiv, in Lviv, in Kiev, then you have factories in Odisha are common. Donetsk is another region where you have numerous factories coming up. There are factories which are also usually seen in the regions where lots and lots of production has been seen. So Kherson is another region where numerous factories have been actually witnessed. We have seen that in the region of Dnipropetrovsk, where as we mentioned before as well, numerous places where defense systems were built are now converted into agricultural and equipments, are now manufacturing equipments which can be used for agricultural purposes or for peaceful purposes, and missile use is being discouraged. So Dnipro is one of the regions which lie here, which is again extremely important. This whole region, as we said, the lower portion, the southern portion of Ukraine, is a region where agriculture is profound. As with the agriculture, we also have the food industries or the food based industries which are there. So basic industries which could manufacture vegetable oil, which could manufacture sugar from sugar beet, are some of the common industries and common factories which are seen in this region. Besides that, in the region close to Odisha, which is the coastal region to this Black Sea, we have seen numerous fish centers and industries or small scale units related to fishes being seen in this region. In the region of Crimea, there are numerous production for vineyards which are seen, and as a result this region is where numerous wineries are also seen. So those are some of the areas, as we marked on the map, where industries have come up. Those are the urban sectors, the developing regions. And then when it comes to mineral resources, it's mainly the region of the Donetsk plain, which is the region where coal and coal mining has been witnessed. The region of Kirveri, which is another important center for coal manufacturing, now coal mining. Then again we have various types of coal. Bituminous to brown coal is found here. Nikpol is one of the centers where manganese is found. And then we have mining centers in the west where oil is drilled, from example the Doina oil fields, coming to Liv, and from Liv the connection to Kiev is already established. So those are some of the networkings for natural gas, for oil pipeline. Also Ukraine is one of the major centers for nuclear power. Most of the electricity in Ukraine comes from nuclear energy. So that's again one of the major things. Chernobyl, which was one of the centers where the disaster took place, is actually now inactive, but there are 4 new active stations which have been established for nuclear power, which we would cover in the separate section where we have focused more on Chernobyl, why Chernobyl changed the history and the implications of Chernobyl disaster, along with the new nuclear centers in Ukraine and the nuclear energy base of Ukraine. Thank you very much. You can stay subscribed for further updates on the topics related to Ukraine. We have covered this in our specific web series of a 5-day module. So don't miss those. Have a wonderful day ahead.